Huh? There it is. What happened? I don't know. Ah, it should work now. Oh, no, 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 no. Shoot, hang on. There. Hello, hello. Testing, testing. Please don't be the same thing. Is it still weird? Is it coming from my webcam? It sounds weird.
There. Okay, hang on. There. That should be good. It should be good now. Please. Huh? We're getting to it in a second. Okay, we're good. Oh my gosh. All right. We're back on track. Oi, yeah, stuff happened and uh apparently my microphone was just deciding not to connect. Okay, so we're back with Shakespeare and we're finishing out I guess the not okay, that's the wrong word. The fickle youth. I was gonna say the filthy youth or the finicky youth. It's the fickle youth. Um, if you notice, I got some sun today, so I apologize for the tomato face. It pleased my cat to go outside, and so I joined him. Okay, we're on number 13 because we highlighted abysm. So we shall continue, and we're gonna crank it out, and we're going to make sure that we're not just having the lovely facade of Shakespeare. We are going to have our book up. Where is it that one? I think it's that one. Uh, oi, oi, oi. Where? Mm. Uh-huh. Perfect. I'm so sorry. I thought I had everything together, but apparently not. We're good. We're okay. We're fine. There. And we're back. We're good. We're fine. It's going to be relaxing. We shall see. Okay. Number, sorry, 113. I think I said 13. 113. So we're going to finish out till 126 this evening, or this day, or this night, whatever it might be. Ooh. Number 113. Since I left you, mine eye is in my mind. Sorry, I'm just going to start that one over. Since I left you, mine eye is in my mind, and that which governs me to go about doth part his function, and is partly blind, seems seeing, but effectually is out, for it no form delivers to the heart. Of bird or flower or shape which it doth latch, of his quick objects hath the mind no part, for his own vision holds what it doth catch, for if it see the rudest or gentlest sight, the most sweet favour or deformedst creature, the mountain or the sea, the day or night, the crow or dove, it shapes them to your feature. Incapable of more, replete with you, my most true mind thus maketh mine untrue. All right, so it is angsty and missing love as usual. Since I left you, mine eye is in my mind. I have gone away from you. Mine eye, all that I see is within my mind, which is likely concerned with you. And that which governs me to go about, that which I use primarily for going about, doth part his function. It's not doing its job, and is partly blind. Seems seeing, but effectually is out. It seems to see, but in effectually, it. I can't figure out how to like alter that word, but yeah, it seems like it sees, but actually, it's not really doing it's not really doing it. For it no form delivers to okay, for it no form delivers to the heart. Okay. So for the eyes, does not deliver to the heart the form which is of you, because I love you. There's no form there that delivers to the heart. I do not see my love, and therefore my eye doesn't care about what it sees. It's all about what it is thinking of, imagining. Of bird or flower or shape which it doth latch. So if it sees a bird or a flower or a shape, if it latches onto that. Of There's a helicopter. Okay, I think. I can't tell. Okay. Sorry. All right. Of his quick objects hath the mind no part. Of his quick objects. So I mean, usually the hang on. So I think the of his would be the eye. The eye's quick objects, the seeing, the mind has no part in. It doesn't care, it doesn't see. Nor his own vision holds what it doth catch. So that vision, whatever it looks at, it does not hold it. For if it see the rudest or gentlest sight, if it sees either of these, most sweet favor or deformedst creature, mountain or sea, day or night, crow or dove, any of these contrary things, it shapes them to your feature. So whatever the eye sees, the mind shapes to you, I think. So then it's not really seeing what it sees. The eye is seeing it, but then the mind is interpreting it differently. Incapable of more, it can't do anything but. It's replete with you, my most true mind, thus maketh mine untrue. So my mind is, what's true in my mind is my love for you. My most true mind thus maketh mine untrue. But yet it's not. That's my most true mind, but in actuality that's not what it is. So it makes it untrue. Boom. Number 113. Hello, how's it going? Is that a cute little frog? Oh my gosh, I love it. Or it's a little bug. Oh, I can kind of get close. I like it. Either way, it looks cute. It has adorable eyes. Hello. We just finished number 113. The usual, I have gone away from you and now nothing is real except you in my mind. So, it's a spider! I love spiders! Oh, that's so cute. I love it. I was wondering, because I see tiny legs, but I wasn't sure. Cute. I love it. I am quite well. How are you? We're reading Shakespeare, so yeah, that's fun. I like that. Yes, how are you? I hope you're doing well. You have a spider. I do. I like spiders. They're so cute. Oh. So yeah. We're finishing up the Fickle Youth Sonnets today. So we have finished one. We have, I think it's 13 more to go. I think I counted it out on my fingers. So it's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 14. So one down. We have 13 left to go. Yes. One down. You feel like you should know some of this because you're English, LOL? Right, but it's a different dialect, so it is almost in certain ways its own language. So it's not, and like the form is different, and it is. And there's a lot of definitions of words that we don't use anymore that trip you up, and yeah. And I studied this, and I've been doing like reading them for a little while, and I still don't even understand some of it sometimes. So it's all good. It's all good. It's like in Finding Nemo, it's trying to speak to me. I know it. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I would say it gets easier as you go, so we just gotta keep trucking with it. But I don't know. Yeah. I like words. They're pretty. So that's where I'm at. So we're on number 114. That was number 113. Now we're on number 114. Or whether doth my mind, being crowned with you, drink up the monarch's plague, this flattery, or whether shall I say mine eye saith true, and that your love taught it this alchemy, to make of monsters and things indigest such cherubims as your sweet self resemble, creating every bad a perfect best, as fast as objects to his beams assemble. O 'tis the first, 'tis flattery in my seeing, and my great mind most kingly drinks it up. Mine eye well knows what with his gust is greeing, and to his palate doth prepare the cup. If it be poisoned, 'tis the lesser sin, that mine eye loves it, and doth first begin. Okay, so going back to, I forgot about this from last time, that these last poems have felt different than the first 99 sonnets that we read. And I do. There's just like, I feel like there's a lot more apostrophes being used in here that I feel aren't necessary, but I don't know. So we're just going to continue on, and I will let my distraught self just mellow. So, okay, or whether... okay, so I almost feel like these are supposed to go together. So my most true mind thus maketh mine untrue. Or whether doth my mind, being crowned with you, drink up the monarch's plague, this flattery, or whether shall I say, mine eye say... Okay. Or whether shall I say, mine eye saith true, and that your love taught it this alchemy. Okay, yes. I do. I think it goes with this one before. So, whether my mind being crowned with you... So, it is. It's one of those things where I don't know how to, like, explain it in different words. That's where the, I don't know, the metaphor allegory kind of comes in. So, my mind is crowned with you. It's all... You are there, and you're always there, and... yeah. I don't know. Being crowned with you, drink up the monarch's plague, this flattery. So, my mind drinks up the monarch's plague because the crown... Oh my gosh. I will try to make sense. So, my most true mind thus maketh mine untrue. So my true mind maketh what's actually going on untrue. Or does my mind, since it is fixated on you, but in a positive thing, drink up the monarch's plague, this flattery, and because it wants to see you, and therefore in seeing you in everything, it flatters the mind, it drinks it up, it wants that, it's plagued by it, but in a good way. Or whether shall I say, mine eye saith true. So maybe my eye isn't deceiving me, and you are everywhere, and that your love taught it this alchemy, so this changing of one thing into another that it shouldn't, to make of monsters and things indigest, which is weird because it says up in the other one is birds and flowers and other good things too. However, to make of monsters and things indigest, such cherubims as your sweet self resemble, so all those things that I'm seeing you in, and everything is good despite its actual nature. Creating every bad a perfect best, as fast as objects to his beams assemble. So then, creating every bad a perfect best, as fast as the objects come to the eye, it changes them. Oh, 'tis the first. 'Tis the first. It drinks up the monarch's blood. So yeah, so it is that deception. 'Tis the first. 'Tis flattery in my seeing. It flatters my mind to see you in everything. My great mind most kingly drinks it up. Mine eye well knows what with his gust is agreeing. So mine eye knows that it's not seeing you, but it's agreeing with it, with gusto, potentially, with his gust is agreeing, because it wants to see you as well. To his palate doth prepare the cup. So the eye is working against and for the mind. It knows what it's seeing, but it wants to see you, and it knows the mind wants to see you, so it mixes up that cup that the mind drinks up. It sees you and everything, and the mind accepts that. If it be poisoned, 'tis the lesser sin that mine eye loves it, and doth first begin. If it be poisoned, 'tis the lesser sin that mine eye loves it, and doth first begin. Okay, so if it's not a good thing that I am indulging myself in accepting seeing you and everything, it's better that it's my eye that does it first, because then it's not just me in my mind Fantasize? I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. I think we got that one. Nailed it. 114. Done. I think. I don't know. I'm going to check. Okay. So that was number 114. And again, sometimes it is. The lost in translation thing is definitely a thing because it doesn't sound as good, and maybe it's just because I'm the one explaining and I'm not doing a good job, but there's things in certain languages that you can't say in other languages just because of context and like words that you have that you don't have that don't actually what's the word uh directly translate. So yeah, trying to explain it. I mean, I'm trying to explain it enough and then analyze it enough to understand and then go back to the prettier words themselves. So yeah. Anyway, that was 114. On to 115. Those lines that I before have writ do lie, e'en those that said I could not love you dearer. Yet then my judgment knew no reason why my most full flame should afterwards burn clearer. But reckoning time, whose millioned accidents creep in twixt vows and change decrees of kings, tan sacred beauty, blunt the sharpest intents, divert strong minds to the course of altering things. Alas, why fearing of time's tyranny, might I not then say, now I love you best, when I was certain or in certainty, crowning the present, doubting of the rest. Love is a babe, then might I not say so, to give full growth to that which still doth grow. Oh, okay, that was interesting. Those lines that I before have writ do lie. So everything that I've said before, when I said, e'en those that said I could not love you dearer, I have said before that I could not love you any more than I do now. Apparently I lied, because I love you more even now. Yet then my judgment knew no reason why. At the time, I could not think of a reason why my most full flame should afterwards burn clearer. It seemed like I was my flame of love was burning as much and as bright as it could have. But reckoning time, whose millioned accidents creep in twixt vows. So with time, all these accidents, circumstances, creep in between those vows that I say I could not love you dearer. And then I do. And change decrees of kings. Tan sacred beauty, blunt the sharpest intents. So time does these things. Divert strong minds to the course of altering things. Alas, why, fearing of time's tyranny, might I not then say, now I love you best? Okay, hang on. Alas, why, fearing of time's tyranny, might I not then say, now I love you best, when I was certain or in certainty, crowning the... Oh! Okay. So, alas, so since... Okay. General overview. Okay, so sorry. Even now, I love you more than I did before. And I know that. I recognize that. So then how could I say that I love you the best now when I know that times can change and I'll love you even more later? So, alas, why, I fear of time's tyranny, might I not then say, now I love you best, when back then I was certain or in certainty, crowning the present and doubting of the rest, either back then or in the future. Love is a babe, a child, small baby, then might I not say so, to give full growth to that which still doth grow. So, my love is still growing and always will. So, I can't say I love you best now, because I'm probably going to love you more later. Kind of. But also... Right. Oh, sorry. So it is. It's full grown as a babe, but it's going to grow still. So I do love you fully now, but I'm going to love you more later. Doesn't mean that my full love now is any less. Yeah, kind of. So it's like my love is full now, but it's probably going to grow even more later on. That was number 115. Excellent. Oh, and number 116. I watched for the first time in a long time. Sense and Sensibility. And it was really good. I forgot how much I enjoy the classic, the costumes, the propriety, the all of that sort of thing. Especially because I was in a few, a couple plays. One, I don't know, I can't remember at this point. That had those old timey 18th century Jane Austen Bronte costumes in them, and they were just so much fun to wear, and they were so much fun to look at, and yeah, and it's just fun. Anyway, this was in there, number 116. So hopefully, I'll do it justice. All right, number 116. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is a star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out e'en to the edge of doom. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. Okay, let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. So, do not allow me to the coming together of true minds allow for anything that would impede them, not allow them to fully come together. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds. So, if affection's not the right word. Affection, the feeling, it depends on what your definition of love is, but whatever love is, it is not love if it alters when something in either person alters, or circumstances alter, or bends with the remover to remove. So if love bends, I'm assuming when one is taken away, if one goes away in one way or another, it does not bend, it continues. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark, which is weird because I feel like with all of the apostrophes in here, they could throw in an ever fixed mark, a little accent there. So, anywho, oh no, it is an ever fixed mark. It is ever fixed. It is there. That looks on tempests and is never shaken. It looks on storms. It's not shaken. It's a star to every wandering bark, meaning ship. So the North Star, or any star, whatever stars that sailors use, it's followable, which is now a word. Whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. So the worth of love is unknown, although it's sounds weird. It's physical attributes, or it's quality versus its quantity, I think. So its quality is unknown, though its quantity be taken, I think. Love is not time's fool, so it's not going to change with time. Though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. So though youth come within, well, time is now death, within his bending sickle's compass come. So as rosy lips and cheeks are killed by time, love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out e'en to the edge of doom. So, with brief, ooh, okay. So this one could potentially be love alters not with his brief hours and weeks. So even if it's only a brief span of time, or if people are only able to see one another and spend that time with one another, love one another in brief increments, it bears it out even to the edge of doom. So even to that eventually fading off too, whether it ends in one way or another, I guess. Yes, if this be error and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. Oh, if this be error, if this analysis, if this theory, whatever I'm saying up here, is error, and upon me proved, and it is shown to me that this is in error, I never wrote this, and no man ever loved either. So basically, it's basically saying it cannot be error and it cannot be proved to me that it is error. Because I did write this and man must have loved. But if it is error, love doesn't exist. Number 116. Excellent. I think we did okay. Oh, that was actually really nice. It didn't get into it too much in the movie Sense and Sensibility, but it was quite lovely actually. So, number 117. Oi. Ah. Excellent. All right. Number 117. Oi. All right. Accuse me thus, that I have scanted all, wherein I should your great deserts repay. Forgot upon your dearest love to call, whereto all bonds do tie me day by day. That I have frequent been with unknown minds, and given to time your own dear purchased right. That I have hoisted sail to all the winds, which should transport me farthest from your sight. Book both my wilfulness and errors down, and on just proof surmise accumulate. Bring me within the level of your frown, but shoot not at me in your wakened hate. Since my appeal says, I did strive to prove the constancy and virtue of your love. Okay. Interesting. All right. Accuse me thus. So in this way that I am about to say, accuse me. That I have scanted all, wherein I should your great deserts repay. That I have not repaid what you have deserved. Forgot upon your dearest love to call, that I forgot to call upon you when you needed and or wanted me, whereto all bonds do tie me day by day. Forgot upon your dearest. Okay, hang on. Accuse me thus, that I have scanted all wherein I should your great deserts repay. Forgot upon your dearest love to call, whereto all bonds do tie me day by day. Okay, so hang on. I'm just gonna quick run through. Okay, so it's almost seeming like it's saying, accuse me of this, but also implying that you can't prove it. Kind of. I have scanned it all. I have not repaid what you greatly deserve. So, in saying that you greatly deserve this, I likely repaid it. I don't know. Forgot upon your dearest love to call, whereto all bonds do tie me day by day. I forgot to call upon you when you needed or wanted me, although those bonds tie me every day. Kind of. That I have frequent been with unknown minds, and given to time your own dear purchased right. That I have been frequently with other people, other minds, and given to time your own dear purchased right. So I have taken time away from you being with me. That I have hoisted sail to all the winds which should transport me farthest from your sight. That I have gone away and left you. Book both my willfulness and errors down, and on just proof surmise accumulate. So I am willful and prone to errors. So and on just proof surmise accumulate. Bring me within the level of your frown, but shoot not at me in your wakened hate. So at least be near to me. Even if you're frowning at me, I would still like to be near to you. But shoot not at me in your wakened hate. But don't... Even if you're frowning at me, that's fine. But don't shoot, don't attempt to injure me. Now that your hate has awakened, that you've finally realized these issues with me, since my appeal says I did strive to prove the constancy and virtue of your love. So all of this... Okay, I'm going to quick read through it one more time. Yeah. Accuse me thus that I have scanned all... Okay. Okay, so bring me within the level of your frown. Would be like, yes, all of these things before that I have said that you can accuse me of are true, and therefore, yes, you can frown at me, but shoot not at me in your wakened hate, because in appeal against all of that you are accusing me of, I did strive to prove the constancy and virtue of your love. So I have done all these things, but you have your issues as well? Question mark? Potentially. I don't know. That sounds about right. I feel kind of good about that. I'm almost like, I'll check Trusty Dusty book just to see. Just a little look-see. We'll take a quick little peek, a little gander. Just to see if it gives us anything. Wrong one. 117. It doesn't really give us much. So we're just going to go with we are correct. And we're going to move on. Excellent. Yay. We got 117. Perfect. Number 118. All right. Like as to make our appetites more keen, with eager compounds we our palate urge, as to prevent our maladies unseen, we sicken to shun sickness when we purge. Even so, being full of your ne'er cloying sweetness, to bitter sauces did I frame my feeding, and, sick of welfare, found a kind of meatness to be diseased, ere that there was true needing. Thus policy and love, to anticipate the ills that were not, grew to faults assured, and brought to medicine a healthful state, which, rank of goodness, would by ill be cured. But thence I learn, and find the lesson true, drugs poison him that so fell sick of you. What? Okay, all right, interesting. Like as, to make our appetites more keen, with eager compounds we our palate urge. Okay, so like we make us want to eat more, we take things to urge our palate. So like that. Also, like to prevent other diseases that we don't see. We sicken to shun sickness when we purge. That's what I saw in Trusty Dusty book, was like you would purge in order to, I think it said forestall, which is a great word, other sickness. But we shall see. So yeah, so that yeah, so even though we don't have any sicknesses, we're going to make sure we don't get sicknesses by purging. One way or the other, apparently. Even so, being full of your ne'er cloying sweetness, to bitter sauces did I frame my feeding. And sick of welfare, found a kind of meatness to be diseased, ere that there was true needing. Oh, okay. Even so, I'm full of your ne'er cloying. You know what? I'm not entirely sure. I am fully certain of what cloying means. Never cloying. And it doesn't say you're ne'er cloying, ne'er cloying, ne'er cloying. Ah. Hey. Hey. Honestly, it just reminds me of the Pokemon Cloyster. Cloy. Ah. Shoot, I'm sorry. I would have my phone over there, but it needed charging, so it's over here. Cloy, not clow. We will get this. Disgust or sicken. Okay, so I'm so full of your sweetness that is never sickening. So yes, like so sweet it's sickening. Yours is never sickening. You're just sweet. To bitter sauces did I frame my feeding, and sick of welfare found a kind of meatness. Just want to make sure I'm fully understanding. Appropriateness. A kind of appropriateness to be diseased before there was true needing. So I assume that's kind of like I'm so full of your love that I start thinking up issues, potential issues, before they even come. Because then, thus, policy and love, to anticipate the ills that were not, grew to faults assured. So in doing so, I anticipate those bad things that are not actually there, that eventually grows into actual assured issues. And brought to medicine a healthful state, so medicine being sickness, so it sickened our healthy state of love, which rank of goodness would by ill be cured. Okay. Which rank of goodness would by ill be cured? Brought to medicine a healthful state, which rank of goodness would by ill be cured? So, yeah, that sort of contrary use of the terms. Healthful state, which, yeah, so being rank of goodness, that love, all it is goodness. It's rank of goodness. Yeah, too full of. Oh, too full of made sick by. Because I'm too full of goodness, that illness will cure that goodness. But from then I learn and find the lesson true. Drugs poison him that so fell sick of you. So yeah, thinking that you can be too happy and therefore inventing things, inventing problems, because you can't possibly be that happy. And having that idea, which is, it's almost interesting, that feels incredibly modern. Inventing those things, like you need that conflict within a relationship. You can't just be happy and content with one another. There needs to be conflict there. So adding those drugs, that medicine, that sickness or whatever, in order to, because again, you get sick of that sweetness, that goodness, and so desire to cure it with that illness. But then after I learn, and then after having done that, I learned, I find the lesson true. Drugs poison him that so fell sick of you. So those drugs, that finding those issues that weren't there, inventing those issues, and therefore creating them, they poison him that so fell sick of you. So, fell sick of you because it was so good, it was so great, and therefore got sick of it, therefore tried to cure it with these invented, the drug of invented conflict, and it just poisons it. Bam. I think that's good. I think that's it. That I feel like that came together quite well. So we're gonna leave that one at that. Number 118, on to 119. Yes. And yeah, number 119. All right. What potions have I drunk of siren tears, distilled from limbeck's foul as hell within, applying fears to hopes and hopes to fears, still losing when I saw myself to win? What wretched errors hath my heart committed, whilst it hath thought itself so blessed never? Now how have mine eyes out of their spheres been fitted, in the distraction of this madding fever? O benefit of ill, now I find true that better is by evil still made better. And ruined love, when it is built anew, grows fairer than at first, more strong, far greater. So I return rebuked to my content, and gain by ill thrice more than I have spent. Interesting? Okay. First off, I'm looking up Limbeck's. From Limbeck's. I feel like, I feel like it might be a what's that one poisonous berry? Or I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. Limbeck. An Alembeck. Oh wait, Alembeck. An early chemical apparatus consisting of 2 retorts connected by a tube used to purify substances. Okay. So, what potions have I drunk of siren tears? So, the only thing okay, so in the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean movie, they had to add the mermaid tear to the Fountain of Youth in order to make it work. So, okay, that's different than a siren, I guess. We're gonna check Trusty Dusty Book on this one. Oh, I'm so out of practice with, like, the Greek stuff and the mythology stuff. Maybe, ooh. Maybe we'll move into that next, although that can get a little dicey. Drug drinks, dangerous temptations. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay. So yeah, so basically, poisonous and temptationist. Yeah, so I have drunk of, and the use of potions does make it have that sort of negative connotation. So I have been tempted. I have drunk potions. Temptatious. I keep wanting to say temptatious. Potions of temptation, distilled from Limbeck's. So the vial. Foul as hell within. So they're not good, not at all. Applying fears to hopes, and hopes to fears. So going back to number 118. Applying my fears to my hopes and putting hopes into those fears. Still losing when I saw myself to win. So in trying to make better, in trying to fix what wasn't ever broken, I lost, even though I thought that this was going to fix it, that this was going to get me to where I needed and wanted to be. What wretched errors hath my heart committed, whilst it hath thought itself so blessed never? So, My heart has committed wretched errors, even though it thought that it had never been so blessed, or never could be so blessed as it would have been. How have mine eyes out of their spheres been fitted in the distraction of this madding fever? So I'm assuming that's sort of a. I just get the imagery of like rolling eyes, goggling eyes, because of this fever that I've created for myself, basically. Mine eyes out of their spheres been fitted. We're just gonna have Trusty Dusty Book up here for this one. I think I'm getting it, but I'm also like, nah. Number 119. Yes, excellent. Yeah, started out of their sockets and analogized to stars out of their spheres. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Oh, benefit of ill. Now I find true that better is by evil still made better. So this is kind of going against the other one where better, what's good, is made better by evil. Ruined love, when it is built anew, grows fairer than it had at first. So love that was ruined is better before than it was when it's rebuilt. It's strong, it's greater. I return rebuked to my content and gain by ill thrice more than I have spent. So, after having learned my lesson, messing everything up, I have gained by ill by doing those things. I've gained thrice more, 3 times more than what I lost before. I don't know. I don't necessarily like that one, but maybe that's just me. But yeah, so basically, if you mess up, I guess sort of the learning from your mistakes sort of thing, and still being able to work through that, get through that, and not doing that again, is going to, yeah, it can. Then, if you can get through that, you can get through anything, kind of. Hey, there we go. Kind of, maybe? Sure. I like it. That was number 119. And number 120. That you were once unkind befriends me now, and for that sorrow which I then did feel, needs must I under my transgressions bow, unless my nerves were brass or hammered steel. For if you were by my unkindness shaken, as I by yours, you have passed a hell of time. And I, a tyrant, have no leisure taken to weigh how once I suffered in your crime. Oh, that our night of woe might have remembered my deepest sense, how hard true sorrow hits, and soon to you, as you to me, then tendered the humble salve which wounded bosoms fits. But that your trespass now becomes a fee, mine ransoms yours, and yours must ransom me. Jeez, okay. That you were once unkind befriends me now, and for that sorrow which I then did feel. So you did me a wrong at one point. You were unkind. Hang on. So the fact that you were once unkind is what befriends me now, which is good for me now. And for that sorrow which I then did feel, I was sad at that point, sad to a degree, needs must I under my transgressions bow. Okay, yeah, so basically, general thing is you messed up, but I also messed up. So the fact that you messed up is good for me now because it kind of puts us on an even playing field. That's not good. Anyway, okay. That you were once unkind, yeah. For that sorrow which I then did feel, needs must I under my transgressions bow. So for that sorrow which I felt when you were unkind to me, did me wrong, I must also bow under my own transgressions, unless my nerves were brass or hammered steel, which they weren't. For if you were by my unkindness shaken, as I by yours, you have passed a hell of time. So if we're going to compare how I felt to how you felt, I went through hell and now so have you. or the other or hang on. You went through hell and so now have I. So now also have I. And I, a tyrant, have no leisure taken to weigh how once I suffered in your crime. And I, a tyrant, have no leisure taken to weigh how once I suffered in your crime. Oh, that our night of woe might have remembered my deepest sense, how hard true sorrow hits. Oh. Okay, hang on. That you were once... So you were once unkind first. So that befriends me now because you messed up. And now I don't know if I did this incorrect at first. So you messed up first and we got through it. So now I messed up. But so now, because so now it is an even playing field. That's just, I don't like it. Okay. So I messed up. And okay, hang on. We're going to start over from the beginning and I'm going to try and get it out all in one thing. So the idea is that I messed up. So now thinking back, you messed up first, which is good for me now because I felt horrible then. And so, which I under my transgressions bow, which I then also feel horrible now because I know how it felt for you. No, how it felt for, I know how it feels for you now because I know how it felt for me. Unless my nerves were brass or hammered steel, which implicitly they are not. If you were by my unkindness shaken now, as I was by yours back then, you have passed a hell of time. Yeah, so I do. I recognize how hellish of a time that you have right now because I remember how I felt when you did it to me. And I, a tyrant, have no leisure taken to weigh how once I suffered in your crime. So I count myself as a tyrant because I have no leisure taken. So yeah, so I didn't enjoy weighing how I once suffered because of what you did. So yeah, so the fact okay. So potentially I didn't think before I messed up and did the same to you that you did to me. I, being a tyrant, did not weigh how much I suffered when you did that to me and how much we suffered together, basically. We'll just go with how much I suffered and how much it did not feel good. Oh, that our night of woe might have remembered my deepest sense. So I wish, before I messed up, that night of woe, I might have remembered, I might have felt once again how hard true sorrow hits. If I had remembered that, if I had felt that and thought about that before I did what I did, and soon to you, as you to me, then tendered the humble salve which wounded bosoms fits. That our night of woe might have remembered my deepest sense, how hard true sorrow hits. And soon to you. Yeah, so I wish I would have remembered that. Now though, soon, as you did to me, tendered the humble salve which wounded bosoms fits. So you came, you apologized, we talked it out, we figured it out. You were that humble salve that fixed it or helped it heal. But that your trespass now becomes a fee, mine ransoms yours. So, yeah, so what you did before is now, it kind of sounds like payback a little bit. So mine, so you messed up. Now I messed up, which cancels out you messing up, but also the reverse, you having messed up first cancels out the fact that I just messed up. Ew. Number 120. Moving on. Number 121. Oh, come on. Give us some good stuff. I guess it is the fickle youth. But it was good at first. Anyway, all right. Carrying on. 'Tis better to be vile than vile esteemed, when not to be receives a reproach of being, and the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed not by our feeling, but by others' seeing. For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood, or on my frailties why our frailer spies, which in their wills count bad what I think good? No, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts my deeds must not be shown. Unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad, and in their badness reign. Oy, oy, oy. All right. 'Tis better to be vile than vile esteemed. So, first thought is it's better to just be vile than to be esteemed for being vile. When not to be receives reproach of being. Okay, so when you're not esteemed for being vile, you receive reproach for being vile. So you're not being rewarded for being vile. The just pleasure lost, which is so deemed not by our feeling, but by others seeing. So then that pleasure of being vile is lost, which we don't actually find pleasure in, and it isn't, yeah, we don't find the pleasure, we don't feel that pleasure in ourselves. It's because of what other people think about us. For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood? For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood? I feel like that's saying, so why should other people give me reason to not turn from my naughty ways, even though they might. So like the false adulterate, meaning people who glorify something but would never do it themselves. And why should those people allow me to continue in my bad ways simply by justifying it in a way or commending me for it in a way? We're going to check Dusty Book again. 121. Oh, hang on. Oh, okay, this is going differently. Hello. I hope it's going well. How is it going? These poems have taken a turn, so I'm just trying to understand, and I'm doing quite well. How are you doing? Good. I'm glad. That's good. But yeah, it is. These they're going a little darker than they have been before, so I'm just trying to understand. Oh crap. So I'm probably gonna just finish analyzing this one, and then we'll go back to what Trusty Dusty Book says, because it's slightly different than what I'm thinking. Reading dirty books on stream again, eh? Well, they can get that way, but the flowery text kind of what's the word? Masks it a little bit. That's why I like these. You can get away with a little bit because it doesn't sound bad. So yes, so the way that I was going with this one is it's better to be bad than to be revered for being bad, because if you're if people like you for being bad, then there's no reason for you to change your ways. But Trusty Dusty Books is something else. So we'll continue with what I was thinking first, and then we'll go back and do the Trusty Dusty Book way. Whatever floats my boat. Yes, yes. Well, I like the nice stuff too. That's why it is. The last couple were just kind of like, that's not what I'd like. And it did. It took a complete turn from even just a couple beforehand. So it was like, oh, love is this, and yeah, and then it went into, yeah, not good. Nice to have a mixture of good literature in your life. Oh yes, oh yes. That's why I am. I'm so glad to be back doing this. Like this is as much as I stumble through this stuff, it's kind of my element. I really enjoy doing this and analyzing it in literature and and I am at some point I'm currently reading the Bible, and that takes up my reading time completely. So after that I'm going to go off into other stuff too. So I am. It's nice to have all of the all sorts of different things. Yeah. I have so many like weird like favorites and things that have really hit and struck me in the past that yeah, it is. It's definitely a mixture. It really is an interesting read. It's been really thought provoking, and yeah. Yeah. I am. I'm interested to get through the rest of it and kind of like mentally put it all together. And then I have a book that is going over the Psalms that I am looking forward to reading as well. That's kind of why I actually started reading the Bible, was so that I could analyze it myself first and then go and read that. So most people approach it the wrong way, but if you read it like any other literary masterpiece, extremely deep and probes into your mind. Right. And the other thing that I found interesting too is I have read it before, but it was when I was a lot younger. So being able to put more of an adult understanding to it and really think about it more realistically rather than how I used to and still sometimes do think about things cartoonish in my mind was it like you said, definitely deep and mind probing. And yeah, I've been enjoying it. Understanding, exactly, big difference. Yes, definitely. Absolutely. So yeah, it's been good. And not that I'm looking forward to being done with it, but I am looking forward to having the whole sort of thing mentally. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, and now like I do. I am actually deep down I'm a very sunshiny person. I like the happy stuff. I love the joyful stuff and everything. So, I don't mind the melancholy and the less happy stuff, but because it's that realism, it's life and everything, but it's just getting like, I don't know. Seeing the Ark encounter was eye-opening for you because as a kid you saw all the storybooks, the happy animals in the Ark, and it was small and they were packed in. Seeing it built to life size, huge, excellent, right? And it is one of those things where if you don't actually go over it and really think about it, you never kind of alter it. And that's something for me where I have enjoyed like maturing my own understanding and my faith and everything. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's like those things where like phrases or words that you never really understood why or how, and you never thought about it until you finally something clicks and you're like, "Oh, that's different." So sunshiny is what keeps you coming back. Oh, I'm glad. I do. I try because I do. I like having fun, and I like other people having fun, and I like other people being happy. So I hope, yeah, I hope it makes people happy or helps in some way. So I'm glad. Now I'm all blushy. It's not just the sunburn. Okay. Anyway, and now I'm all shy. Okay. So yes, so we were better to be bad than revered for being bad. On my frailties, why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad, what I think good? Okay. So yeah, so I think the last half of this poem is definitely going to Trusty Dusty Book's interpretation. So we'll probably just get into that one. You always hate when you miss my streets. It's I mean, it's 3 times a week. So it's a bit, and they're different. So I mean, you're not always up for, like, I don't know, certain things. It's not everybody's cup of tea all the time, or you're busy, and that's fine, and I understand. So it's good. It's okay. It's all right. They're gonna keep on coming, as far as I can tell right now. So no worries. I'm happy. Well, I'm not happy that you hate it. I'm happy that it's something to miss, though, I guess. Making me all shy. So Trusty Dusty Book actually said differently that it's better to be bad than to be thought of being bad. When not to be receives reproach of being. So you're reproached for being bad, but you're not actually bad. So you might as well be bad. The just pleasure is lost, which is so deemed not by our feeling, but by others seeing. So you don't get the pleasure of being bad, of doing the things that you would like to be doing. It's so deemed not by our feeling, but by others seeing. So people see us as being bad, even though we're not being bad, and we don't get the pleasure of being bad because we're not actually being bad. For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood? So why should others' falsely seeing eyes bring out, greet, say hello to my sportive blood, the stuff that I would do, but I have decided not to, I think. And you shall keep on watching. I'm glad. I do. I like when you come in. I enjoy having you here. I enjoy chatting, and I'm looking forward to the flying streams too. When I'm trying to think. I was so wrapped up trying to figure out holds and stuff. I can't remember if I actually saw you, but now I'll actually be able to have your plane though, so that'll be good. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good. Yes, which will be on Tuesday again. Or on my frailties, why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad, what I think good. So, on my frailties, why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad, what I think good. So on my frailties, so on my weaknesses, why are weaker spies, why are gossipy, uh, what's the word? Meddling spies in their wills count bad what I think good. So they think what I'm doing is bad even though I'm not doing things that are bad. And therefore they're esteeming me as bad even though I'm not. Potentially. Yes, hook you up with liveries, etc. Excellent. That sounds good. See, but and that's the thing too, is because like I'm still so bad with like types of planes. So whenever anybody's in a plane that just like the general whatever, I don't know. Like I know the Bonanza and everything, and I know like if somebody's in a big plane and I'm seeing it as a little plane, I understand that, but like all the different types and stuff, I just don't know. But it will be more interesting and fun to be able to see the different types. So I appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to that. So no, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. So I am that I am. That's pretty straightforward. They that level at my abuses reckon up their own. So basically, what you say against me, you're actually that whole thing where what you say against other people is actually something that you see in yourself. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. So I may be going good, but they're actually the ones doing the bad things. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown. Unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad and in their badness reign. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown. By their rank thoughts, I'm going to check Trusty Disky book. Because on one hand, I would say that it's almost like because they see the bad things within themselves, they need to cut me down. Kind of. Though they themselves be beveled by their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown. Oh! By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown. So, my deeds must not be shown by their rank thoughts. By what they think and say about me does not, what's the word? Is not what I do or am. Whatever they say about me is not what I am. So my deeds are not shown by what they think of me. Unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad and in their badness reign. So basically, I'm good, and when people say I'm bad, it just takes so much away to just boil it down like that. So when I'm being good, in my good deeds, the good things that I do, when people say bad things about me, it's their problem, and they're the bad ones. However, unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad and in their badness reign. Except for the fact that, in general, everyone is bad and allows themselves to be bad? Question mark? They should not think my actions into existence. Ooh, existent. Oh. I like that too. So basically, in them, so even though I'm being good and they're saying that I'm bad, I should not allow them to create that within me. I like that. I like that a lot. Be shown, unless this general evil they maintain. Be shown, unless this general evil they maintain. All men are bad. I do. I do like that interpretation. Thank you. So then this end at the bit, or this bit at the end, sorry. Unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad and in their badness reign, using reign as prosper. So, like you said, if I'm good and they're saying I'm bad, I might as well be bad. I should not do that. I should not allow them to dictate what my deeds are, because why not? However, unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad and in their badness reign. Unless, if evil and bad people prosper, might as well. Ew. That's so sad. See, that's... Ugh. They're so negative, these ones. And so, blech. I mean, I guess it is like these are the fickle youth poems. But yeah, it's getting into that. I bet it started with I think it started with more of like the, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed sort of naivete. And now it's getting into the realizing what the world is and just going hardcore downer. Oh, well, evil people's right. Yes, evil is happy and fun. No. 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 We must stay good. Goodness is good. I am very eloquent, apparently. All right, let's hope. Let's hope that they get better. That was number 121. Now we're on 122. All right. Fingers crossed for positivity. Thy gift, thy tables are within my brain, full charactered with lasting memory, which shall above that idle rank remain, beyond all date, even to eternity. Or at the least, so long as brain and heart have faculty by nature to subsist, till each to raised oblivion yield his part of thee, thy record never can be missed. That poor retention could not so much hold, nor need I tallies thy dear love to score. Therefore to give them from me was I bold, to trust these tables that receive thee more, to keep an adjunct to remember thee, were to import forgetfulness in me. Sorry, that misspelled word just threw me off, and I need to highlight it because I edit things impulsively. Where to go? Highlight. There we go. It's red because it's broken. Okay. So, thy gift, thy tables are within my brain, full charactered with lasting memory. Thy tables. So thy gift, thy tables are within my brain, full charactered with lasting memory, which shall above that idle rank remain beyond all date, even to eternity. So I feel like tables is a sort of, you edit text messages? Nice. I like to joke that my, what is it? My first draft text messages are better than other people's final draft essays. I'm very, everything is punctuated correctly, spelled correctly, capital letters. Oh yeah. You worked as a professional editor and writer for 4 years? Excellent. Very cool. That's awesome. So, what, do you have a specific genre or just kind of a little bit of everything? That's super cool. I love that. Oh, very cool. So thy gift, thy tables are within my brain. So I feel like that's almost like a, I want to say sort of like a math, I don't know, like a sort of a mathematical thing where tables being like description of like everything that is encompassed in you is full charactered with lasting memory. But I'm going to check Trusty Dusty Books just so I don't get out of it, off of it. Notebook, presumably blank for the poet to write in. Oh. Okay, so it's just apparently thy tables being like thy tablets, thy writing tablets. Thy gift, thy tables are within my brain, full character with lasting memory. So, what I am writing about you? Potentially? Interesting. Okay. You wrote quite a lot of different stuff, but you worked for a company called Value Walk, stock market news and political pieces. Interesting. Very cool. So, were you more writer first, then stock market, or stock market and political, then writer? Sorry, I like to understand things, and so I ask weird questions. So yeah, that's very cool. I like that. um, thy gift, thy tables are within my brain. So this is making it seem like it's everything about you that I have written or could write is within my brain. It's full charactered, and it's lasting, which shall above that idle rank remain beyond all date, even to eternity. It's gonna last forever. It's gonna be there forever. It's above that idleness, or at the least, so long as brain and heart have faculty by nature to subsist. So as long as my brain, both my brain and my heart, are existing, till each to raised oblivion yield his part of thee, thy record never can be missed. So until my brain and my heart are both gone, and therefore no longer have that part of thee, until such time, the record of you will never be missed. But after that, it will. Okay, sorry. You were an analyst coverage writer, covered earnings calls, etc. Had a big portfolio at one time, but you got burned out and walked away. I understand that. I absolutely understand that, and like absolutely no shame in that either. Because yeah, I understand. Interesting though. Cool. I mean, and that's the thing is you you take what you had, and at some point circumstances differ, things change, and it it's not the same as it was, and so it's probably better to walk away, which I absolutely understand. So yeah, it's good that you called it when you saw it, and you did, because this, like, if you would have stayed, yeah, it probably would have only gotten worse. You wrote a lot of philanthropy. And now I can't talk. Philanthropy-based story pieces for magazines, pieces on Buffett, Gates, Bezos, and others. Very interesting. Do you ever do any, like, just for fun anymore? Like, if you ever have a thought, like what you would write, you just kind of like crank it out and just enjoy it for what it is, and then just leave it. Or have you ever thought about starting your own sort of a thing, just for fun, kind of, or not? I don't know. I'm so my wheels are always turning on things, and yeah. Anyway, so you are. Oh, it's top secret. Okay, I understand that too, but I hope when it's no longer top secret that you will let me know, because I would be super interested. I love that. I I actually had a top secret project myself, and I haven't been doing it as much as I would like to, meaning very little at all. So I understand, but like I said, once it's no longer top secret, I am looking forward to hearing about it. And I will just have to wait and put my excitableness down. You have a single short novel on Amazon. Uh, is that top secret, or I would be curious. That's awesome. So did you? Sorry, so many questions. Is was it just was it something you've always been thinking about doing, planning on doing, a story you always had, or was it just all of a sudden on a whim, sort of? Excellent, sounds good, very cool. Yay. Um, yeah, or was it just kind of like on a whim, or at like a, I don't know, just in a certain period of time, it just kind of like worked out and you cranked it out? I'll let you answer all those questions if you want to. I'm sorry of all of my questioning. So yes, my brain and heart, until they're gone, and therefore you're gone, you will always be there. That poor retention could not so much hold, nor need I tallies thy dear love to score. That poor retention could not, that poor retention could not so much hold. That poor retention could not so much hold. So, am I saying I have really good retention, since if it was poor retention, it could not hold so much? That poor retention could not so much hold. Or it's the fact that my retention is poor, so it's not in your retention. It's not holding that much. I don't need to tally it and score your love. Therefore, to give them from me was I bold, to trust these tables that receive thee. Oh, yeah, okay, again. The tables. Right, right. Okay, so that poor retention. So it is. Again, it's the tables. The tables, the writing tablets, the notebook, whatever is written. I have written you, and therefore that is lasting. And maybe the brain and heart is a general sort of a thing, where it's like, as long as brains and hearts in general subsist and read about you, what I've written about you on these tables, you will never be missed. Memory, poor retention, could not hold all that I have put onto these tables about you. I don't need to tally it or score your love. To give them from me was I bold. I was bold to write them and give them to myself, kind of. To trust these tables that receive thee more. To trust this writing about you, to receive you in it. To keep an adjunct to remember thee were to import forgetfulness in me. Ooh, interesting. So to put you into these tables, this writing, these poems, it brings forgetfulness to me myself. So in putting you into this, it makes me more forgetful personally. Sad. It wasn't too bad though. It wasn't like super dark, but it was yeah, thought provoking. Okay, you wrote it in about 4 hours on a whim. Excellent. Someone bet you could not come up with a story and write it within a day. And you won that bet, made more money on the bet than you have on sales in nearly 10 years on Amazon. Well, it's saturated now. Well, you got to market it though. You can do marketing if you wanted to put into it. I'm looking forward to it. That'll be awesome. But that's so I love those. Oh, bet you can't write a story in a day. How about 4 hours? Amazing. Oh, I love that so much. That excellent on your part. Congrats on that. That's amazing. Oh, I love it. That's fantastic. 122. That was so 123. That was 122. 123. So it wasn't too bad. That one was okay. That was a little more. Like it had a better balance of that like happiness and melancholy. So it was okay. I'll accept it. Ugh. Okay. Number 123. 123. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 more. All right, we got this. No. Sorry. No. Time thou shalt not boast that I do change. Thy pyramids, built up with newer might, to me are nothing novel, nothing strange. They are but dressings of a former sight. Our dates are brief, and therefore we admire what thou dost foist upon us that is old, and rather make them born to our desire, than think that we before have heard them told. Thy registers and thee I both defy, not wondering at the present nor the past, for thy records and what we see do lie, made more or less by thy continual haste. This I do vow, and this shall ever be. I will be true, despite thy scythe and thee. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so about time. You send the link in Discord. Don't expect much from a 4-hour project. I'm looking forward to it, cause that's one of those things where, like, for me, when it comes to writing, at least my first major writing project that I undertook, I definitely way over edited. So, like, then there's the stuff that I'll go back to that were just like little scribblings from like school and stuff, and it's like, oh, that was really good. So sometimes the stuff that you don't put too much like technical work into is the best. So I'm looking forward to it. Dark at the End, yes. Grim Reaper reference, yes. So it is. It's basically, dang you, time. Don't call me old. So no, time thou shalt not boast that I do change. I change thy pyramids built up with newer might. To me are nothing novel, nothing strange. They are but dressings of a former sight. Okay. Dates are brief. Therefore we admire what thou dost foist upon us that is old. Okay. We before have heard them talk. Okay. So sorry, I just had to read it like over quick because I've noticed sometimes in like watching back through these that I really mess up the analysis of it, and I'm like, no, it doesn't mean that at all. Uh, so, and I'll probably do that again, but I think it might have a like an underlying thing of love, like time. You will never boast that I change in my love. Thy pyramids built up with newer might, uh, to me are nothing novel, nothing strange. Potentially, um, comparing the strength needed to build the pyramids to the strength of love. And again, I could be absolutely wrong in this. Don't take anything I say legitimately. Um, that so it's not. They're nothing novel, and they're not strange. They're not wondrous as they're meant to be. Our dates are brief. We don't live very long, and therefore we admire what time you foist upon us that is old. The things that have lasted a long time, we are awed by because of how short a time we ourselves live. And rather make them born to our desire than think that we before have heard them told. So I think that's something like where we take these old things and we take them in our own circumstances, in our own present understanding kind of and mentality, rather than take them for what they were than think that we before have heard them told. I'm also thinking that might be incorrect. Rather make them born, and therefore we admire what thou dost foist upon us that is old, and rather make them born to our desire than think that we before have heard them told. Okay, that could also be, and rather make them born to our desire, like we desire that oldness, that longevity, than think that we before have heard them told. So I feel like that could go to like the love thing, where we want that longevity of love, but we don't think that we've ever heard it really actually told of before. We desire it, but we're not sure it's ever really existed, potentially. And again, I also have the thing where if in this kind of writing, if it provokes a thought that wasn't actually in there, and it's a legitimate, decent train of thought, which is subjective, then it's fine. It doesn't matter if it wasn't quite what it was meant to be. It's its own thing now. So yes, thy registers and thee I both defy, not wondering at the present nor the past. So what you keep in, like thy registers, what you tally up, and you, time, I defy you. I don't wonder at the present or the past, for thy records and what we see do lie. Okay. Made more or less by thy continual haste. Okay, so what we see presently that is from the past, those records lie because of how fast you go anyway. Kind of. This I do vow, and this shall ever be. So I vow, and I'll ever be true, despite thy scythe. So your eek, 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 and you. Your scythe and you. I will be true until death. And you know what? Ooh, beyond death. Ooh. Yes. I think so. That actually makes a lot of sense, having it be beyond death. I'm going to be true beyond death. So anything like the present and the past, we don't see the fullness of what was or even what is because, like, that whole, like, we see death and we see it as an ending when it's not. Oh, I like that one. That was a good one. Number 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. That, okay. That one was good. I like that one. And it is. That's one of the things that I like about writing so much. Is how just that one little word change or idea change just kind of puzzles it all together, and it just really, it oomphs it. It gives it that oomph. I like it as a verb. Definitely not as dark. Right. It's hopeful and it's defiant. You got to get to bed. Have a good night. Sounds good. Have a good night. See you at some point. It's probably going to be Rocket League on Sunday if you're interested, and then flying on Tuesday. And then more Shakespeare on Thursday. So, yeah. Otherwise, see you around. See you next time. Have a great weekend. And yeah, all that stuff. Thanks for being here. It's been fun. I'm looking forward to your book. I'm very excited. So, yes. So good night. Sorry. Okay. Number 123. Much, much better and more hopeful than the other ones were. 4, 5, 6. All right, 3 more. What time is it? Okay, we're doing good. We're doing good. If my dear love were but the child of state, it might for fortune's bastard be unfathered, as subject 2 times love or 2 times hate, weeds among weeds or flowers with flowers gathered. No, it was builded far from accident. It suffers not in silent pomp, nor falls under the blow of thralled discontent. Whereto the inviting time our fashion calls, it fears not policy, that heretic, which works on lesses of short-numbered hours, but all alone stands hugely politic, that it nor grows with heat, nor drowns with showers. To this I witness call the fools of time, which die for goodness, who have lived for crime. Okay, if my dear love were but the child of state, so if my love were an orphan, the child of state, it might for fortune's bastard be unfathered. So it has no father, but is the child of fortune. My love. My love is. As subject 2 times love or 2 times hate. Oh, okay, so fortune, neither positive or negative. It is just fortune in general. As subject to times love or times hate. Could go either way. Weeds among weeds or flowers with flowers gathered. Okay, so if it were but the child of state. No, it was builded. Hang on. Child of state. Okay. No, it was builded far from accident. So it wasn't an accident. It suffers not in silent pomp, nor falls under the blow of thralled discontent. So it's not, as I guess I would say, like a kingdom. It suffers not in silent pomp, where it's basically disregarded, nor falls under the blow of thralled discontent, discontented masses, overthrowing it, whereto the inviting time our fashion calls. It suffers not in silent pomp, nor falls under the blow of thralled discontent, whereto the inviting time our fashion calls. Whereto the inviting time our fashion calls. So it's almost, it sounds like it's saying, whereto the inviting time our fashion calls. Like those circumstances are what are inviting. It's what the way our society is, calls to those things. It needs those things. It fears not policy, that heretic, which works on leases of short-numbered hours. So my love, there's no policy, that heretic, works on leases of short-numbered hours. It doesn't deal with any of that, but all alone stands hugely politic, that it nor grows with heat, nor drowns with showers. Okay, so it stands on its own. I'm not quite sure what it means by that. So 124. Okay. This is why. So it's not apparently silent pomp, it's smiling pomp, which makes a lot more sense to be honest. But uh that's so weird. Okay. Suffers not in can I hang on. I can't, can I? I can't make like a note or anything on it. Gosh darn it. That's fine. It's fine. We're fine. So smiling pomp, apparently. Okay. Uh politic. Uh that's not it. 124. Tempts people like me. Uh-huh. Politic. I only love is extremely practical. Okay, so but all alone stands hugely politic. Okay, I need to make sure that that's correct. Uh oh. So of an action seeming sensible and judicious under the circumstances. So all these other things, all the pomp, the politics, the yeah, everything that goes with it. Love, at least my love, stands hugely politic. So hugely sensible and practical. It nor grows with heat nor drowns with showers, so it doesn't change with changes in circumstances, as the others do. To this I witness, to this I witness call the fools of time, which die for goodness, who have lived for crime. Ooh, okay. To this I witness call the fools of time. So those who uh are or what's the word? What's the word? Thralls of time. I don't know. Which die for goodness who have lived for crime. Which die for goodness who have lived for crime. To this I witness call the fools of time, which die for goodness who have lived for crime. So, so I feel like this kind of got a little bit philosophical here. So, again, I'm gonna go that way. I'm gonna go that way because I like it. So, taking time and making. All right, I'm gonna see if I can explain it properly the way that I would, so it's not weird. So, fools of time, those enslaved to time, and those are the people who um, play the games of society, the like government, politics, all of that sort of thing. Society, which die for goodness, like even if they die for a good cause, they still lived in crime. Hang on. Or it's just making a general a general statement about uh the the government and the state of the state at the time. So if my dear love were but the child of state, it it wouldn't really it wouldn't necessarily not have hope, but it has neither. It would be based upon circumstances. But it wasn't it had no it wasn't based upon an accident. Suffers not in smiling pomp. It's not based upon circumstances. So, ooh, okay. So, yeah, so basically those who allow themselves to be washed along in the river of time, allowing circumstances to dictate how they live their lives and what choices they make. Um, and then die for apparent goodness, when it might not even be like actual like crime. It could be like just a crime that's how you've allowed yourself to live your life. We're going to check trusty dusty book. Which die for goodness who have lived for crime. So this one just says who repent at the last moment. So who did like they lived for crime but repent at the last moment. And so my love comes in where? Call the fools of time which die for goodness who have lived for crime. So look at my love. This is how it could be. So do better. I don't know, that one's weird. Okay. We are done with number 124. Hem, hem, hem. Number 125. It's probably going to bother me that I didn't get it like a solid. So one of the things in Trusty Dusty Book said, like, the fools of time, like opportunists, stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like it doesn't kind of go with the rest of it, though. Ooh. Oh, okay. So I'm going to throw out another somewhat bit of analysis. So the crime. So it is. It's comparing my love, which is immune from change in circumstances. Okay. Rather than those who allow circumstances to dictate their lives. To this I witness call the fools of time, which die for goodness. So they might die for love in one way or another, but did not live for it. They did not make the choices that they needed to in order to live for it, and therefore is a crime. So yes, they didn't take the opportunities during their lives to demonstrate and create and have that love. Even though at the end they end up dying for it, because that's noble. They could have lived for it as well. Maybe? I don't know. I kind of like that a lot better than just kind of leaving it as it was. So that was number 124. 125. I think we're finishing up that page. Excellent. And then we'll be finished for the evening or day or night or whatever it is until next week. So, well, Shakespeare-wise. All right, number 125. Were it aught to me, I bore the canopy, with my extern the outward honoring, or laid great bases for eternity, which prove more short than waste or ruining, have I not seen dwellers on form and favor lose. I feel like there was supposed to be a period there, so I'm going to go back. I'm just going to start over. So, okay, number 125. Were it aught to me, I bore the canopy, with my extern the outward honoring, or laid great bases for eternity, which prove more short than waste or ruining. Have I not seen dwellers on form and favor lose all, and more, by paying too much rent, for compound sweet, foregoing simple savor, pitiful thrivers in their gazing spent? No, let me be obsequious in thy heart, and take thou my oblation, poor but free, which is not mixed with seconds, knows no art, but mutual render only me for thee. Hence thou suborned informer, a true soul, when most impeached, stands least in thy control. Okay. Were it aught to me, I bore the canopy, with my extern the outward honoring, or laid great bases for eternity, which prove more short than waste or ruining. It's one of those things where, again, it's like I get the sort of general picture of it, but the specific words in there I sometimes need to make sure that I'm interpreting correctly. Hang on. Oh, and my phone is finished. Thank goodness. Okay. Checking. There. Okay. Where it ought to me, I bore the canopy, with my extern the outward honoring. So I am bearing this outward representation of something. Honorable. It's in honor of this external thing. Or laid great bases for eternity, which prove more short than waste or ruining. Where it ought to me, I bore the canopy with my extern the outward honoring. Or laid great bases for eternity, which prove more short than waste or ruining. So I feel like it's kind of going into where the writing is eternal. However, this kind of seems like it's saying it's not. So I bore this outward honorable canopy. I laid great bases for eternity, which prove more short than waste or ruining. So these great bases that I have laid are shorter than I laid them for eternity, but they have proved to be even shorter than it takes to get waste or ruins. Have I not seen dwellers on form and favor lose all? So those who dwell on form and favor, so appearance as well as what others can do for them, those who dwell on those two things, they lose everything and more by paying too much rent for compound sweet, foregoing simple for compound sweet. Ooh, interesting. Oh, I really like that line. Okay, hang on. So lose all and more by paying too much rent. I mean, and you could go just the simple way of you're so preoccupied with appearances and being well favored by other people that you pay too much rent. You pay more than you can actually afford. For compound sweet, foregoing simple savor. So getting what is complex and sweet rather than sort of like, yeah, so going for the cupcake rather than the healthy, nutritious meal, even though it might be simpler. But yeah, so for compound sweet, foregoing simple savor. That's a good one. Pitiful thrivers in their gazing spent. So thrivers, so they seem to be thriving or thrive for a little time, become pitiful, and in their gazing at themselves and at what they want, end up being spent. No, let me be obsequious. Let me make sure I translate that correctly. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Excellent. Obsequious. Such a good word, too. Obedient or attentive. No, let me be obsequious in thy heart. Let me be attentive. Let me be obedient in your heart. Take thou my oblation, poor but free, which is not mixed with seconds, knows no art, but mutual render only me for thee. Okay, so let me be obedient. Let me be attentive. Take my oblation. It's poor, but it is free. It's not mixed with seconds, so that could either be it has no limit of time, or this is all I got. You don't get anything like in addition to that. It knows no art. It's not artful or anything. It's not appealing in that way. But mutual render only me for thee. Hence thou, suborned informer, a true soul, when most impeached, stands least in thy control. Hence thou, suborned informer. Okay. Hence, thou suborned informer, a true soul when most impeached stands least. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Let me get all the proper definitions here. And then I shall hopefully translate. Bribe, otherwise thou bribed informer. Ooh. Okay. So, hence, I believe, well, I guess I could probably look that one up too. Like from here, so like go away basically, I think. So if ever you don't like somebody and you want them to tell them to go away very nicely, you just say hence, and then they'll just be like, what? And then you just walk quietly away while staring at them. It'll work. For this reason, yeah, from here, hence, be gone. So from here, yeah, I do. I think that's. I want to say that's what that would be. From here, thou bribed informer, a true soul when most questioned, or like the validity is questioned. When its validity is most questioned, it stands least in thy control. So, comparing my poor but free, not artful, all it is offering to those who put on airs and yeah. Yeah, hang on. A true soul when most questioned is least in thy control. The control of a bribed informer. I'm gonna quick read it again. Just word out to me, I bore that word anything to me. Oh, hang on. Okay, so we're gonna have to redo this. Okay. Was it anything to me that I had the outward appearance, that I bore the canopy, my external appearance was honorable, was appealing, or did great works, laid great bases for eternity, which prove more short than waste or ruining, which end up being destroyed anyway? Have I not seen other people, dwellers on form and favor, lose all and more by paying too much rent for compound sweet, foregoing simple savor, pitiful thrivers in their gazing spent? So no, let me be obsequious in thy heart. Take this, it's my offering, my love, poor but free, not mixed with seconds, knows no art but mutual render, only me for thee. Hence, thou suborned informer, a true soul, when most impeached, stands least in thy control. So then I feel like the hence, thou suborned informer is sort of the suborned informer is sort of like a side character, if you can call it that. So anyone who comes to bribe to inform upon in whatever way, be gone. A true soul, which I have described, when most questioned, stands least in thy control. So you don't, basically, you have no power here. So yeah, and I do. I like this, oops, line. Because it's not. And it could just be a general thing as well. I'm just going to do the whole last thing. Because, like, a true soul does not... I do not like that at all. A true soul cannot be bribed and will always be true to itself and its love. I don't know. To the truth. To the truth. So yeah, I like that one. That one was nice. All right. Last one. Hope it's also nice. All right. That was number 125. This is 126. O thou, my lovely boy, who in thy power but hold time's fickle glass, his sickle hour, who hast by waning grown, and therein showest thy lover's withering as thy sweet self growest. If nature, sovereign mistress over rack, as thou goest onwards, still will pluck thee back. She keeps thee to this purpose, that her skill may time disgrace, and wretched minutes kill. Yet fear her, O thou minion of her pleasure. She may detain, but not still keep her treasure. Her audit, though delayed, answered must be, and her quietus is to render thee. Okay. O thou, my lovely boy, who in thy power but hold time's fickle glass, his sickle hour. Fickle glass, his sickle hour. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. So comparing the like hourglass to the sickle. I like it. So you who hast by waning grown, and therein showest thy lover's withering as thy sweet self growest. So, O thou, my lovely boy, who in thy power, in your power hold time's fickle glass, time's fickle hourglass, his sickle, his hourglass, which is a sickle, kind of, who hast by waning, you, instead of waning or in waning, you have actually grown. Therein you show your lovers have withering, whereas you, your sweet self, actually growest. If nature, sovereign mistress over rack, as thou goest onwards, still will pluck thee back. So if nature, that sovereign mistress, as you go onwards, she'll keep plucking you back. She keeps thee to this purpose, that her skill may time disgrace and wretched minutes kill. She keeps thee to this purpose, that her skill may time disgrace. Yet fear her, O thou minion of her pleasure. Ooh. Oh, okay. So, yeah, so even though it seems, it appears, again, this fickle youth, though it may appear that you hold, that you wield the hourglass, the sickle of time, where you grow rather than wane, your lovers, or former lovers, wither, though you continue to grow. It appears, or like if nature seems, as you go onward, seems like she keeps plucking you back, she keeps thee to this purpose, that her skill may time disgrace and wretched minutes kill. Skill may time disgrace. So that her skill may time disgrace. Her skill may disgrace time. And instead of the minutes doing the killing, her skill kills those wretched minutes, that time. Or so it appears. Yet fear her, O thou minion of her pleasure. So, even though it seems like your youth is sticking with you, you're still good, fear her still, the nature. You being the minion of her pleasure. She may detain. She might detain you. She might detain you from the grip of time, but will still not keep her treasure at some point. Her audit, though delayed, though it appears, though delayed, answered must be, and her quietus is to render thee. So at some point, though it might seem as if it's being delayed, at some point, the balance comes due. Where is that from again? Oh, yeah, that's what it's from. Doctor Strange. Yeah. So yeah, so again, basically, what is it? Is it youth is fickle and beauty fleeting? Is that what the actual quote is? So yeah, so though it seems that youth continues with you beyond what it should, eventually time does take all. And it didn't. Oh. See, and that's the thing is like, depending on how you say it, it comes off a little harsher one way or the other. So, yeah. Well, there, the end of fickle youth. I mean, that's kind of fitting, actually. It's the end of fickle youth. There we go. Oh, that's actually kind of. I like it. I like it. That fits. All right, that was number 126, the end of apparently the fickle youth sonnets. On to next Thursday. Hopefully it should be. The Dark Lady sonnets. So we'll see about that. And I guess actually that's probably going to be, I think there's like 28, so we'll be able to do half and then half. So we'll be a couple. Hang on, you know what? We'll check. So, see, okay, so this is where I'm at. There's like a space here. So my mind read The Passion ate the Pilgrim. And it sounded fine to me until I actually thought about it for a second. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay. And then okay, so then we'll see if we will read The Passion ate the Pilgrim the next time, and then potentially A Lover's Complaint the next time. Okay, and these are just Shakespeare. That's just people talking about him. Then we got the glossary, which I believe is then the end of the book. So we will potentially have like a month left of this. 2 weeks to a month left. I don't know. I'll find out what The Passionate Pilgrim is all about. And then what A Lover's Complaint is about. So yeah, either it's going to be 2 to 4 weeks. And then we'll figure out what we're doing next. I don't know. I kind of want to do potentially Aesop's Fables. I still kind of don't want to do something that breaks up between weeks, but maybe. I don't know. We'll see. So we'll go like that, we'll go like that, we'll go like excellent. So that's that. That was the Fickle Youth Poems. Almost done with Shakespeare. It's been fun. Well, his sonnets anyway. Yeah, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll keep reading stuff. Just got to figure out what. So, yeah. So this was Shakespeare. This was Thursday. This is reading, and I am apparently mush-brained at the moment, as usual. So Sunday is potentially one more thing of Rocket League, and I think that yeah, because I kind of want to do the All-Star and then the Unfair. So we'll do one more thing of Rocket League on Sunday, and then we'll figure out after that what we're doing on Sundays. More IFR training on and / flying. So more flying / IFR training on Tuesdays, and more Shakespeare until we can't anymore on Thursdays. Yeah, so there's that. So to whoever got lost, if they're here or found their way back, hello and thanks. It's been fun. It's great to have you here. Hope you enjoyed it. I had a good time. Shakespeare. Yeah. So have a great whatever it's going to be for you. Hope to see you again soon. And if I forgot anything, brain is mush, so I apologize. So yeah, I hope that's it. I think that's it. So thanks and bye.